Hello, my name is Joe. I'm a Dota coach, and this is a replay video for a Reddit user, The Lonely One, who's relatively new to Dota and is playing Viper mid. A couple things that I want to talk about before the video. There's some problems with map awareness, there's problems with efficiency, and a lack of understanding of what your hero does in the game. You still get quite a lot of kills, but you tend to die more than you probably should, and you're not active on the map, so you're just waiting for stuff to happen, and that means you are relying on your teammates to do things. And in your post, you said you won your lane, or you did relatively well in lane, but it doesn't look like you had a game plan for what to do either during the lane or after, and you just started leveling, either using a guide, or you're leveling whatever comes up, and you feel like, oh, this will be a good idea. Same thing with your items here. It looks like you're buying off of a guide, but don't know quite what the items do for you, and you aren't paying attention to the timer and what that means on the map. You know to go for this rune here, but that's about it. So we'll break this video down into the first. This is turbo. It's a 30-minute game, so that'd be a 60-minute game in all pick. So we'll do the first 5 minutes of the game. We'll do the next. Normally it's up to 20, so we'll go up to 10 minutes, and we'll do in 10-minute intervals, and we'll talk about those things. So in the first 5 minutes, we start at 0. First thing that I saw you do, can I draw? I can't draw. Okay. Free camera. First thing you did, you already had your items bought in the strategy stage, so that's good. There's no items queued up in our quick buy, and you immediately stand on this rune. And I don't think it's bad that you stand on this rune, because you have an invis hero who is probably going to try and steal it. Sometimes people like to sneak it around, but running up over here and trying to fight them, maybe you get first blood, or blocking these creeps, gives you an advantageous first wave, and that lets you get level 2 before your opponent and start hitting them. The second thing I want to point out, we don't know who we're laning against because we didn't fight at this rune, we didn't check this rune. I watch your camera perspective, and you don't move your camera off of your hero, you just kind of sit with your camera right here, looking at your hero, not looking at what else people have. You don't check different people's items, lots of other things. So let's go back, watch a little bit. Player perspective, Viper. So right now no one's showing on the minimap. No one's showing on the minimap. Sitting on the rune.
The
Weaver
battle
showed.
begins.
I think that's a bug. We could have hit him a couple times. Didn't check his items, didn't do anything, don't know what he's doing. Don't know if he's planning to run mid. Sometimes you see Weaver mid. Don't block the creep wave at all, we just kind of stand here, the creeps run around us. If we watch Quap, go back. She tries to block. Not doing it right, but she tries. If she did it successfully, her creeps would be on her hill instead of on the river in the middle here. And that means you can't hit her as often. It's a 30% miss chance. Next problem I see from you have a stick queued up and immediate wand, but if you watch this lane back, you don't have full charges. You don't even have 10 charges by the end of the lane in the first 10 minutes. You could have bought mangoes with this. It's 450 gold, and we could have bought, if I close this, we could have bought 450. We could have almost bought a Wraith Band. We could have bought, how many mangoes? 450 is like 8 mangoes. We could have bought 8 mangoes, and each mango is another toxin at level 1. So you could have used this 8 times on top of the 5 times instead of buying this full wand here. Poison attack, we could have used poison attack a lot more. You could have bought, what's 50? 9 clarities, and that is essentially infinite regen for the lane as long as you're using it right. Another thing, we level poison attack, but this isn't really a lane where you're going to poison attack the Quap to death. And I see that you end up maxing this poison attack out, but this is more for additional damage to help you either last hit, or it helps you, helps you trade with them so that you use up her regen with using less of your regen. So this applies damage per second. How many seconds? I don't know how long it lasts, but that's fine. Let's just say it's like 20 extra damage. And if you attack 4 or 5 times, which is the maximum number of stacks, that's 20 times 5 is 100 extra damage. Suddenly this Quap can't trade with you. You know, if this was somebody like a mid-sniper or a mid-skywrath, you just poison attack them to death. They can't run away because their move speed is slowed to... It's slowed to a very small amount. They just kind of die. So, buying more tangos. Tangos is a laning regen item. So it means you're going to be sitting near the creep wave, trying to attack them, trying to trade HP, and using that and then backing off. And the reason it's better than a salve when you're fighting in lane is the salve gets canceled if you try and fight them. But this one, you can fight them and it doesn't get canceled. Well, why not use a Fairy Fire, which is instant? It's somewhere in between. Well, this says, I'm not going to try and fight you, but if you go on me, I can actually man up to you because I have this burst of regen. And if they go full to 0 and you have this little bit of extra 85 health, well, that's 10% of your HP, and that's essentially buying 4 stats, because each one of these gives you 20 extra HP. So in terms of HP, unless they can 100 to 0 you before you can press any buttons, which sometimes happens in double stun lanes like Earthshaker, Wind Ranger, that didn't happen in this lane because they're also new, it looks like. This is the equivalent of buying 4 branches, which would be 200 gold, and this is only 70. So it's really nice if you're not planning on fighting them, but if they decide, oh, I'm going to go on you, and use a bunch of spells, or use a bunch of right clicks, and decide to trade with you, this is better. So I see what you're doing with the stick, where you're like, oh, this Quap is going to be hitting me a bunch. But the Fairy Fire is going to do that for you, especially if the Quap isn't going to cast any spells on you. So we'll watch back the lane and say how much HP and regen you got off of this magic stick, and if you even needed to buy the full wand. Additionally, this is +3 all stats when you finish your wand. +3 all stats. For the same amount of gold, you basically get, I would say you buy a Wraith Band instead, which gives you 5 extra damage, 5 extra attack speed. It gives you, how much strength? Strength gives you the same amount of HP, more or less, and more armor, which doesn't really help you against the Quap unless she's right-clicking you a bunch without the damage, the double damage rune she picked up. But this is almost the same as the wand. But with the Fairy Fire, you get more. So. Other thing I want to point out, these creeps are dying, and you're not getting regen, or you're not getting, where is it? So watch the status bar. These creeps die. 1 died, 2 died, 3 died. You got a little bit for that last couple. And now you're tanking tower shots. When there's creeps under the enemy tower, you're free to stand in the tower range. You're free to stand on this red circle. See how fast one creep makes it go up? As long as you're not getting denied, this should go up for your creeps dying as well. think she denied it. That's why it's not working. Yeah, she's denying you. You still get a little bit for it, but it's worth staying close enough. You sometimes aren't in range of the creeps. So imagine if that was a sniper and he walks up like this, you can just poison attack, slow him, and then he dies. So instead, because you're not going to be poison attacking the Quap, getting another point in the Nether Toxin instead would have been more useful. Or getting a point in Corrosive Skin means that your damage gets reflected, or the damage you take gets reflected on the Quap. More Nether Toxin means you can farm faster, so you would go like 1, 2, 2 for the farming build. And then you can be farming creeps there, and then farming creeps here, push out the wave, farm creeps up here, and then come back. But right now you have Wand, 1 charge, which is 15 health and 15 mana. And you spent 400 something gold for that. She has a sentry here, and that's why she broke it. You end up placing another ward up here, taking a ward from your team. Doesn't show me the cooldown, but this is the next ward for the next 1 to 2 minutes for your team, and she's going to break it because you didn't find her sentry. So she breaks the second
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And then you fly a sentry, but you should fly the sentry first. Or fly both. Do something. We can have more items queued up here than just these 1, 2. If you hold control and shift while you're queuing up items, it will queue up more items. I don't know what you're doing there, but there was a couple seconds where you could have been attacking, you could have walked up, you could have zoned the Quap off the creep wave. Problem with Viper against Quap, especially because you have no mana, is she normally is not supposed to take 3 points to Scream of Pain. Normally she'll take a Shadow Strike, which is the slow, which is what you normally want to do. She slows you and does damage over time. Essentially the same thing, except she can escape with her Blink. So she takes 1 point in Blink, 2 points in Shadow Strike, and then just Shadow Strikes you. And then that should be a death at 30 seconds based on Turbo. It should be a death at like 1 to 2 minutes for you. As soon as she hits level 2, level 3, you just kind of die because you can't dispel the Shadow Strike and you take a shit ton of damage. So, because the way she's built, you can just harass her if you have mana. Right now we don't, because we haven't been buying regen items. We didn't buy a Clarity. We didn't buy a Mango. We have this Ring of Regen, but we're not tanking any damage right now. We're still at full HP. We used some of it before. When did she harass us? Like, there hasn't been any auto attacks coming out. So a lot of the damage you took is because you were tanking tower shots. So that's why you used your tangos. But ideally, you don't even need those tangos because you're not fighting her.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I want to talk about the Tagro aggro here. There was still a creep in the tower range, but because you were the one attacking the tower and the creep was not, as soon as the other creep died, you were the one that took tower aggro. So if I watch this one's being attacked, and then now you're being attacked even though there's a creep under the tower. So instead, what you can do is you can right-click or A-click this creep if you have force attack on, and then the tower will stop attacking you as long as you aren't attacking the tower. And that means you can do things like harass the Quap under her own tower. You could walk up with your creep wave all the way up here. That's a little scary because she's got this slow and then you can't get out because you're Viper. You have no movement speed, no movement
Dire's
abilities when she
middle tower
does.
is under
But
attack.
she leveled weird, so you can just kill her. This time it's not going to happen because this creep is up here, and she got smart. Again, sitting at no mana, that means we barely have enough for
Middle
another
is
toxin.
missing.
We can't use our Viper Strike. There's a thing I want to point out. You're farming one creep wave, you get passive gold, and then there's these camps that are sitting here not doing anything. 60 gold per minute, another 90 gold per minute, and if you have movement speed you can grab this one for another 90 gold per minute. So that would be, at least on Viper, 90 plus 60, 150, and this is 160 for the creep wave times 2, so a 320 per minute, plus another 150 gives you 450 gold per minute additional on top of, you get 120 gold per minute passive in turbo, so in normal all pick you would get 60 gold per minute, so 300 and let's just say it's 510 gold per minute. If you're just farming the creep wave, farm the 2 camps here, that's a lot more than you have. That's almost 30% more of your net worth. And then you're just not doing that because you don't have the mana, and that additional 150 gold per minute is half of a mango. So even if you're spending all of that additional gold on regen just for the mana to use your nether toxin more, you would be 1 to 2 levels above the squap, who's not doing anything. She's just kind of last hitting like you are. And you're level 7, she's level 7. Imagine being level 10 right here. And then trying to take this tower. And having full mana. If she decides to blink on you in your nether toxin and you have creeps here, she just kind of dies. And that's kind of what happens when she blinks on you up here, but she has a double damage rune because it's 352, 354, 58. You don't have mana to another toxin the wave. The wave is occupying you right now, and Quap is walking up right here, grabbing the double damage rune. 1, 2, 3. No. And now Quap,
Double
instead of
damage.
72, she does 144, and you do 81. She dies because you reflect some with the corrosive skin. But imagine if you had gotten that double damage rune. And then she burns all of her mana trying to kill you. If she had just stopped trying to kill you and used the shadow strike on you, then she would have died.
Dire's middle tower is under
Or use
attack.
the double damage rune to gank another lane instead of trying to kill you. That would have been fine too.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Enemy team is pinging sniper right now. Who's blue? Drow is pinging sniper. So imagine you got that double damage rune, you nuke the wave, run top. You slow the sniper, he can't run away, and
This
the
should
Drow
make my life
silences
easier.
or whatever. Or you run bottom, you slow this Necro who can't purge, you're slow. Necro dies. Lots of different things you could do. Probably not going to kill the
Every
Weaver
coin
because he just leaves. You're probably not going to kill the Quap because she just blinks out. She dies because she's making mistakes and has a really weird skill build with Blink and Scream of Pain instead of Shadow Strike. And this is her farming, but this is her ganking. And I would say she's better as a snowball hero where you Shadow Strike and Blink max first and then grab
Dire's
this double
structures
six.
are fortified. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
One of the things I want you to notice, they didn't have enough damage to kill the Weaver in the double stuns. If you had gone up here, this would have been a kill. How much extra health did he have? He's almost full health. What's he at? 760. And they bring him down to 315.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But you had to commit Echo.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And you died to Quap at the same time, but that's fine. So then go on him again. And we know that you are sitting here trying to harass the Quap. Not going to happen. She just drags the creeps away, fortifies, this is fine. And then they go on the Weaver. What happens here? He gets down to 247, and it takes 2 seconds. How long does he get stunned? I miss. 1, 2, 3 stacking stuns. He could have been stunned for 4 seconds, and he would have died if you didn't stack the stuns, but that's fine. That's your team. They're not going to help. If you're not ganking, you need to be either farming these camps or threatening to take this tower, or threatening to kill their mid laner. You're not doing any of these things, so your teammates are bound to do bad things and not actually convert kills. But you have at least 1 kill, maybe a second one if you get a silence on the PA, if you stack your stuns on the Weaver, if you stack your stuns on the Sniper. If you even get close and slow the Sniper, he's dead. So you just wait till the wave is kind of like right here, and then walk through here, and then slow him, and then he dies. But those are the options. Their purchase was nice. We have a TP scroll. Enemy team is right here. Wind Ranger's about to respawn. Wrap around him right here, sit out of vision behind this tree, and then as soon as Wind Ranger respawns, they TP in, stun somebody, you put another toxin on the Sniper, poison attack, and then just start killing them. Sniper should be dead. He should not be up this far.
Middle tower is under attack.
But he died because he wasn't going to run away.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Instead, we're content getting a little bit of gold. There's a lot more gold that you're not farming. This is still the same mud golems from the very beginning of the game. You could have farmed it
tower is under attack.
6 times. You could have farmed 6 times, maybe 3 or 4. And now you're sitting showing on a ward, and they got 3 heroes running at you. And we're sitting in the middle of the creep camp. And sure, you get a kill because they blink on you. And then they sit in the break, and then you do damage, and all the damage they do to you gets reflected back on them. You have 1280, 940, and 920. So as long as you have more than 920 damage, or 920 health, how much gets reflected? Increases magic resistance, so that's nice. Damage per second, 32. So you get an additional 32. You do return 20 damage, so you get an additional 50 damage per second. And then all the damage that gets returned increases by 80%. So what is 80% of 50? You get 4 extra damage. So 94, 28. Plus 20% of the attack. Oh, okay, I see. So 80% of your HP, you need an additional 20% of whatever they have. They have 1,000, so as long as you have 1,200, you can kill at least one of them. 1,200, and then you're putting damage back onto them. So yeah, you have more than 1,200. Anyone that is 1,000 or less will die if you 1v1 with Corrosive Skin and Blade Mail active. So they shouldn't be attacking.
That.
And you died to sniper. Whoops. If it was just those two heroes, rather than all three of them, you would have actually gotten a double kill and been fine. So, rather than waiting for them to all gang up on you, you could go to a lane that has two heroes once you get your blade mail and corrosive skin, and you can just start hitting people. And if they don't want to hit you back, even better, you get poison attack and you run at the sniper. The sniper can't run away when he's getting slowed, and then he just dies. And then he can't TP out, because if you run at him with 3 stuns, 1, 2, and 3 stuns, he just kind of dies. Nothing he can do about that. Oh, I can see now.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So we see here trying to defend this tower, but they still have vision. They have... How many levels is that? They have 5 levels advantage against your Earthshaker. And he missed a bunch of spells.
Radiant's bottom tower is
He
under
doesn't have
attack.
any way of escaping or survivability. And then you TP in, and now you're stuck here. Crop is just waiting.
Radiant structures are fortified.
But there's not a lot that you can do right now. Instead, they run here. You run top without having to TP.
See no weaver.
Threaten to push this wave, threaten to take
Radiant's
this tower.
bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom
How
tower
close does
has
Quap get?
fallen.
And she just blinks out. Same thing would have happened if you were showing here. Level 14 sniper, 17, and what are you? 17. So he got this level advantage, but right, if we look back in the last, go back to 5 minutes. Where is 5 minutes? This is the point when you hit level 6. Level 6, if you had mana, maybe a little bit more move speed, like a windlace or something, you just ran at the sniper. Sniper dead? Sniper's dead. Okay, so there's no point in actually running up here, but we could run it like the PA, we could run it the Necrophos, we could run bottom, use these spells on these guys, and this is a kill down here. Sniper is level 5, so you have a level advantage on him. PA is level 3, Necro's level 5. You just run here, you take these guys down, you run back. Instead, now he's out-leveling you. 10 minutes into the game.
Radiant's middle tower is under
And then
attack.
we TP into a fight. Oh, this is before. We come back, we TP, we push out the wave.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
In perspective, what do we see?
See no weaver.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom
So
tower
again, these
has
creep
fallen.
camps are the same creep camps that were here at the beginning of the game, not getting farmed. Before you walk up to a creep wave, you look and see who's missing. There's 1, 2 people showing right now. I think this is a bug. Normally you wouldn't see this Weaver. Where is their team? They got 3 heroes mid, green. Yeah, they got 3 heroes mid, and then they have 1 top and they have 1 bottom. So again, if 3 heroes are missing, they can kill you, even though you're strong. Got Dagoned. These pings that you're making, Sniper's missing, Weaver's missing, they should have been made when you stepped up to the creep wave or before you stepped out of the creep wave. You just another toxin and walk away. That doesn't happen because they need vision of you to be able to start shooting you with shrapnel or shooting you with Dagon or hitting you with Sniper's range. So lots of things that can happen. This Force Staff is nice if you actually use it to escape, but they kill you so fast that there's no way that you're going to do that. one option if you're afraid to walk up to things, at least on Viper. Hurricane Pike, but it starts with the Dragon Lance. Dragon Lance gives you more HP. What's 12 strength times 20? That's 240 extra HP. And where's the Dagon here? His Dagon does 400. Dang. Anyway. I thought it was going to be semi-similar, but it's not. Anyway. This gives you an additional 140 range. I can't show you, but your attack range is 575. What's the additional plus 100? Is that from your... I think this has the extra attack range. One of these gives you extra range.
Dire's top tower is
But
under
rather than
attack.
buying Force Staff, which means I'm stuck in an AoE and I like to get out, which is good against the Shrapnel.
Radiant's middle
But
tower
if
is
you're just
under
going
attack.
to hit the creep wave a little bit and you need to survive,
Radiant's
grabbing
middle
the
tower
Dragon
has
Lance
fallen.
first would be better. Remember I mentioned this is for trading with people who want to use their spells like a Bristleback or sometimes a Skywrath, Necrophos. Who else likes to spam spells? Luna's low cooldown ability heroes. Right now you only have 5 charges. At the very least, not finishing the wand, just buying a stick, and then using the rest for real regen. This is 5 times 15, 75 health and mana. So there's 85, so for 70 gold you could have bought 1 Fairy Fire, and 70 you could have bought a Mango. That's 140, that's less than a stick, and you get about the same amount of regen. Sure, it's less slots, but you had died a couple times, and you weren't using all your slots during that point. Standing, this gives him vision of you. His team should be running at you right now, but they're not. Now this camp is getting farmed. And now they're running at you. You can put down another
Dire's
toxin
bottom
here
tower is under attack.
to keep the wave going. And you don't even have to see the creep wave to do it. Just put down another toxin and run. But what happens here is you're paying so much attention to the creep wave, you're not watching your teammates die behind you. And then after your teammates have died, then you participate in the fight. But the nether toxin is really great for dealing with the 3 passives on the enemy team. Makes Quap not want to walk up. Deals with Sniper's passive, so if you get it on him, he's slowed, he can't die. And then you trade relatively well as long as you get on top of the Sniper and he can't get away from you. You deal with the PA, so if she blinks on you, you pop Blade Mail. You have a natural Blade Mail passive that reflects some of the damage back on her. And if she doesn't have her blink, then she's stuck and she gets slowed and then she kind of dies. So those are your options. And you can even chase with Force Staff if you really want to and you feel strong. But right now your teammates all dying.
Dire's middle
You're
tower
not even
is under
participating.
attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You're the strongest one on the team. And then you decide to fight.
Dire's bottom tower is
And
under
then you die.
attack.
Monster kill! Triple kill!
The same thing should have happened 10, 20 seconds earlier. And now what's happening is you're losing any fights that you take with this significant kill deficit and this significant tower deficit is going to be a bad fight. You don't have enough HP to survive a 5-on-5. Your entire team is under-leveled. They don't have enough spells. They don't have enough mana. They don't have enough damage to finish off a fight. So if they just keep running into you 5 at a time, and you keep running at them 5 at a time, they will eventually just overwhelm you. So what you need to do is you need to run at one of the other towers and make them run at you, and then you TP somewhere else and then threaten to take a tower, and then you run away. And that buys your team time to farm. It buys them space to farm, because right now this tower is gone. This tower is gone. All these camps on this side of the map are closing in. You can feel scared to lose these 2 camps, so you're missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 camps out of 10 camps. So half of your jungle farm is gone. Not that you were using it, but half of your jungle farm is gone. And you're not allowed to walk up to the creep waves that are this far up anymore, so they can farm twice as many creep waves. They can farm 1, 2, and 3 creep waves before they even feel threatened. So they get triple the net worth just by existing now. So if you decide to fight them as a 5-on-5, you can't. And if you decide to try and farm when they're missing, you can't do that either. So you have to wait till they do a 5-on-5 like this and shove a wave as deep as you can and then TP. Because then they try and fight. So that was fun.
Radiant's middle tower is
But if
under
you're going
attack.
to walk back like this, it's too late. You need to be at this creep, at this tier 2 player perspective. At this tier 2, threaten to take it, threaten to kill this cart. And then as soon as they try and come back to contest over here, then you TP back up here. And then you push this wave out. And then as soon as they run at you, because they had to TP back to this, whatever this is, then they have a harder time running at you as 5, and then your teammates respawn, reinforce, and then you
Radiant's
take a good
middle
fight,
tower is under
5v3,
attack.
and then maybe you win the fight. Things like that. But if we check the items, you have Hurricane Pike. So I like this item, but I don't think it was the correct build-up because you didn't ever use the Force Staff once. This Magic Wand was essentially 3 all-stats. This could have been a Wraith Band and giving you a lot more damage, a lot more attack speed. You used the Urn, so the Urn was a good purchase. You don't Tread Swap, so you're not actually benefiting from the extra mana that this gives you, and I can demonstrate that later. So this could have been Boots of Travel, and you're split pushing. So you could have been attacking this wave, they show up, you TP somewhere else, you push, and then you have half the TP cooldown. What is this, 40 seconds? Town Portal Scroll right now is already 10 seconds, but it doesn't consume the teleport, so you save, I don't know, 90 gold. You get extra movement speed that you don't get. So you get 45 here and 110, so this doubles your movement speed bonus instead of the boots. It's better.
Haste!
If we look at their items, Sniper, basically the same things you have, but he's got way more
This
damage.
should make my life easier.
Weaver, he's got a Deso, which does -7 armor, and then the Swarm does, where's the minus armor on this one? This can be up to 16 minus armor. Attack frequency every 0.7 seconds.
Coin for me.
So about 16 minus armor if it sits for long enough. You have 16 with the +8. +8 from the Blade Mail. And the Urn of Shadows. So this basically brings you down to 8 armor. Which, okay, I don't mind it right now. That's not a big deal. PA also has minus armor, and she's trying to build into a Deso, so eventually you will get into minus armor and die instantly. Necro, he's got a Dagon that does 600 damage, and you have 1900, so that's a third of your HP. And then Quap has an Orchid, which I guess you don't really mind. Whoops. You don't really mind being silenced, but it doesn't mean you can't Nether Toxin, you can't continuously poison attack, you can't use your Viper Strike, which has a 30-second cooldown. So as long as you've used all your spells, it's not a big deal, but it is awful if you get silenced first, because you don't naturally build a Purge until you get BKB, and you don't really want to build BKB early to deal with a Quap with an Orchid. You can see that a Hex Stick is queued up, and that just means you don't get to do anything anymore.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
See, there's the silence, and you're like, oh, I'm clicking, but I can't do anything. PA still dies to you, which is bad. The better PAs aren't just going to blink up to you, not giving themselves an ability to walk out. They're going to wait for you to use your Nether Toxin to walk away from your Nether Toxin, wait for your Blade Mail. Let's see. Doesn't have any queued. Has another level of Dagon queued. No queued items. Yeah, we're just running into them. But this tower's not going to go down. This tower's not going to go down because everyone's just running at them, and you have less HP, less mana, less spells, less damage, less movement speed, less stun duration. Imagine if Sniper was getting slowed a lot more there. He would have been dead over here, and then the Quap would have been able to blink as safely over here. I guess maybe she would have. But you lost 1 to 4 people, and everybody used all of their spells that they had except for
Dire's structures are fortified.
Fissure or whatever that is, Echo Slam.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Still nothing queued up. I managed to kill the Weaver. So, one of the things that I like to talk about is who you're good against. And with Viper, as long as you have a stun, you can kill PA, because you disable her passive. As long as you can get close to the Sniper, like he makes a mistake, he dies. You don't really kill the Weaver. Maybe you kill the Necro, but you can't target him during his Ghost Walk. So your best thing is just putting damage on him so he's not healing with his passive. Where's his passive? He doesn't have a passive. That's an aura. Yeah. But it does do increased damage to him when he's in his Ghost Walk, so that's good. And you don't really kill the Quap, so you just kind of help. But if you see Sniper or you see PA and you do damage to them, then your teammates don't actually have to invest resources into killing these heroes. And then they can do things like kill this Weaver, kill the Quap, kill the Necro, because they have magical damage that can interact with these heroes a lot better than you do. Now we're pushing the wave. Now we run at the PA, who has to just leave because we're here. If we had a stun, like this was an Earthshaker, instead of the, what's his name? Then PA would have died. This is a good fight because you ran at the PA, and you ran at the Necro. So imagine this happening at 5 minutes instead of 15 minutes because PA Necro were bottom. Or if that was a Sniper, Sniper was top, and then the Weaver just leaves. But you could have done this a lot earlier because you had the same tools. You had Poison Attack, you had another Toxin. They didn't really hit you, so you didn't need Corrosive Skin. And they didn't really go anywhere because you stunned them. So you didn't really need the slow from the Viper Strike. You just needed the stun to make sure that they stayed in one place. And then you used your wand for the what was it, 70 healing? I want to see how much you healed for. Play perspective. Go back a little bit more. Okay, so we almost have a full wand at 15 minutes. If this is a Bristleback, you would have used this 3 or 4 times. Healed for 15 times 15, 100 and 225 HP. And if you were farming camps, you could have been buying mangoes and clarities and salves, and it would have done the exact same thing, but you would be level 25 by 10 minutes. So at the very least, if you're farming these camps and using all the extra gold that you're spending on regen to farm these extra camps, camps 1, camps 2, sometimes this one if you have the movement speed for it, sometimes you stack it and then your nether toxin does more damage to the stack. You can use it all for the regen, and then you'd have more levels by like 20%, even if you don't have any extra gold. And then you just kill them because you have more resources.
Yes.
And you can just run at them like you were doing earlier, but you'd have more levels. And then they die and you take the tower. I like what you did here. We go back, you put pressure on this tower, and then you TP to another lane. And because they TP'd here and you TP'd here, now you don't have to fight them. But again, instead of that happening where you died 5 times trying to defend this mid tower, you do the same thing when they're showing 5 heroes mid, and then they have to TP top to try and defend you from fighting top. And if they don't, then you take this tower, and then you get 1-2 extra camps to farm, and then access onto the mid tower from the side. So now the only place that they have to reinforce from is back here, and they can't stand on this high ground when you're fighting them. Things like that. We have a BKB. She's queuing up one. She doesn't have the damage for it yet, but they're not going to fight you until they have BKB because they know that they're going to die. But once they get this spell immunity, PA is just going to start killing everyone. And I think that's what happens. So they take a gank.
It was worth it.
I don't think they're consciously doing this, but I saw what happened earlier. If I go player perspective, and you notice your TP's on cooldown, and you show up here, and now they take this fight down here. You have your TP, so you could have been instantly TPing and try and help because you were able to fight last time. But she's dead. This TP is too late, and you're TPing to the outpost, which is double the time it takes. So now you're here 3 seconds late.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
I feel like rather than trying to TP into this fight where everybody's dead already, TPing late because you're TPing to the outpost, if you just shove the tower into, shove the wave and threaten to take this tower by yourself, you're getting farmed. You're catching up to the enemy team, and then they have to TP 1 or 2 heroes back to deal with you. And if they TP the wrong hero like Sniper or PA, they can't do anything against you to defend this tower. You take the tower and get maybe 1 to 2 kills. Now your team can actually fight because these 2 heroes are dead. Sniper and PA died anyway, but you could have, or at least Sniper did, you could have gotten 1 additional kill. Your teammates would be alive. Maybe not the Drow, but you could still have Earthshaker and Wind Ranger who actually support you doing stuff, not this guy who just gives vision and some damage. You apply the same amount of pressure that this guy does. See how much use he is? Wasn't super useful having him alive. You want to TP in when Earthshaker and Wind Ranger are still alive because they provide things that you don't have, especially because you didn't build Atos. If you had built Atos instead of like Urn, maybe you wouldn't. You probably get the kill on the Quap because she can't blink out of Atos. So instead of this Urn, you could have killed Quap a lot earlier without her messing up by blinking onto you and not having blink leveled maximum. Like what Quap had,
middle tower is
she had 3 points here, 1 point here, 1 point here, and that means she didn't have the cooldown of 6 seconds to be able to blink out, and she was stuck. And then she used all of her mana instead of blinking away, and then she died to your corrosive skin and another toxin. But if you have Atos, then she can't blink out even if she's leveling correctly.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Now she's got Sheepstick,
fortified.
Scythe of Vice. If she Scythe of Vices you can't do anything because all of your spells rely on you not being silenced. They're not like big spells like Luna or Juggernaut, who can't be muted for or hexed to stop. Most of your damage comes from you being active, hence why you buy the BKB. If she uses Scythe of Vice, you can't use BKB to stop it, and then she can hex you and then you still can't do it. Like, she can silence you, and then you have to use BKB. I don't know, it just makes it hard. And then we get PA, who's got Black King Bar. Now you can't fight the PA because she's going to use it, so if she even shows and decides to fight you with her 5 team members, then you have to kite backwards and not die.
Radiant are scanning.
So you have to keep track of this one on top of where she is and all of her other cooldowns. Let's see. For some reason they're taking Roche when all the enemy team is missing. Weaver just shows up. There's no vision here. So Weaver just shows up and walks in and takes the engagement if they're paying attention. Take a fight on the Necro.
Kill is the cure.
Pick the pages. Bounty Hunter. Okay. And there's PA, and this is what I was talking about. She shouldn't be afraid of hitting you right now. You're the only one that can kill her, and this doesn't disable when she's got Black King Bar active. She actually took more damage by running away from you. Once she gets Black King Bar, the damage reflected from Blade Mail and the break from the Nether Toxin stop working. So she could just sit here and kill you, and nobody else on her team can do anything about her. And then once the active ends, then you're dead, and then she can just kill the rest of your team because nobody else bought, like, she bought a Maelstrom instead of an MKB. And then he's got a Deso and Daedalus. This could be an MKB, and he could actually do something. This is a Butterfly. Butterfly doesn't help you. This could be an MKB which pierces the evasion. This could also be a Silver Edge, and that could also apply break to the PA. Instead of the Moon Shard, this could be an Abyssal, which means he doesn't take as much damage and he can actually lock down. But it could at least be a Basher, and that stops the PA from doing stuff. It stops the Weaver from escaping. But the increased attack speed, this is not good. He's the position 5. I don't blame his items. The Ags is nice because it gives him catch, and then the Shadow Blade is an okay defensive item against 5 farmed cores. So it's an okay option, but she just kills you because she used BKB in 10-second duration. Usually around the time teams start taking Roche is when melee cores and attack damage heroes tend to buy Black King Bar. And it happens because the 10-second duration is probably the biggest power spike you'll have with your Black King Bar. And you had already used it twice, so she had a higher power spike at a more important time because you have this Aegis. And what will happen at higher levels is around the 25-minute mark in an all-pick game, and this is actually relatively late. Probably at your level it'll be around 40 minutes. Around 40 minutes, teams will start taking Roche, and then both teams will be sitting on opposite high grounds while 1 or 2 people are hitting Roche. And then they're just sitting here waiting for something to happen, waiting to either try and steal the Aegis, and then somebody will smoke and say, we're going to go in. And then they go in and start a team fight with, like, Echo Slam, and they'll follow it up with the Shackle Shot on 2 people, and then you'll put down another Toxin to start doing damage over time. And then this guy will try and steal the Aegis, and then this guy will silence. And then the fight happens right here around 40 minutes, and then you have your BKB ready for that fight. And then you ensure that this fight is strong, and if they don't contest you here, now you have Aegis, Black King Bar, and then you use that to take a tier 2, you use it to take high ground. You do a lot of things starting at this point where teams start getting smokes. You still had smokes in inventory, you can't see it, but nobody smoked. So lots of things that needed to happen at this point. This is probably the most important point in a Dota game, which is around the time that your team can actually take Roche. And you guys weren't ready. You weren't pushing their towers, making sure that towers were, or the waves were pushed into their tower. Before you take Roche, waves need to be pushed in. Where is creep wave 3 Roche? Okay, here's Roche. You guys were taking Roche. While this was happening, creep waves are right at your tier 2s. So if you decide to take a fight and it goes wrong, they take 2 towers. This is why you push the waves. And you guys managed to get a kill on the Necro, but you lose the next fight, and then they start taking towers.
Coin for me.
So let me speed this up. So, 2 kills, it's even. And then you take a major fight. And then you die. And then the tower's good. This tower's missing because that one already went down. This wave wasn't pushed out. This tower was already low. So now they just group up and take this one. They have 2
Radiant's
people
middle
alive.
tower is under attack.
They're still fighting you mid. This is dumb. They should just take this tower. It's half HP. I guess now they're going for tier 1. And this is just a continuation of the last fight. Like, it hasn't ended, and they're still ahead. It's even, okay. Now they're ahead by 1 kill. And now they're just going to start running high ground. Okay, so the fight has ended, and now they're just going to start pushing.
Radiant's top tower. Radiant's
So they
top
took the tower.
has
This
fallen.
is 10 minutes late. 5
Radiant's
minutes late.
bottom Radiant's middle tower
And now we take
has
another
been
fight.
denied.
If you have the ability to take Roche, you push the waves as well. Or you smoke and you kill somebody and then you take Roche, or you take a tower or something. But the fact that the waves aren't here means even though you got Aegis, it doesn't result in any more map control. It doesn't put any pressure on the enemy team, and you just kind of lose. And here's another fight where you're underfarmed by 20. They have double your farm, and you're deciding to fight them 5-on-5, which says we're strong, we're going to kill you, instead of split pushing them up and splitting them up and maybe taking a fight 3v1 or 3v2.
Dire structures are fortified.
I had a game where the troll was 5 levels ahead of us, and he was by himself just shoving the wave. The rest of his team was showing bottom, and we have a 3-person gank on him right here, and we just all died to the troll. So even if you are fighting 3v1, like, if 3 people decide to gank PA and she's strong and she's got Black King Bar 10-second duration or Aegis or something, she just kills 3 people by herself and the rest of her team doesn't even need to show up. So that's what I want you to start trying to strive for, is make sure that you have your hero matched up against the heroes you're strong with. In this game, it's the sniper, it's the Necro, it's the PA, the people that can't run away from you. You don't really want to fight against the Quap, you don't want to fight against the Weaver, but you don't necessarily die to them unless it's 3v1 and you are underfarmed, if that makes sense. And then if they're stronger than you like they are right now, this is something you can see. You can't normally see this net worth gain, but you can say they have 20 kills in us, that's 20,000 gold. We're not strong enough to actually fight them. Let's make sure that we're split up to give us a chance at an even fight.
Radiant's middle barracks
if
are
we
under
look-
attack.
Nobody's got buyback for this. So before you take a fight,
Radiant's
either
middle
you need
barracks
Aegis or
has
buyback.
fallen. Radiant's middle barracks has
So even though you
fallen.
have 5,000 gold sitting in your inventory, you're the only one with buyback. Nobody else on your team has buyback.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And don't do this stuff either, where you just walk out and try and 1v5 to stop them from pushing. Instead, this guy's got invis. He just runs over here, pushes this wave,
Radiant
runs over here,
structures
cut
are
this wave,
fortified.
prevent them from going. One of the cool things you can do, if you have invis or you have a smoke, there's smokes in your inventory, you could grab those. Smokes let you bypass these sentry wards. They don't have regular wards on these, so even if they have the sentries, they don't see you. So you just smoke out, you walk up here, and you sit at their tier 2 or tier 3, and at the top of the 30-second and the full minute, you just sit here and you kill the creep wave, and then you run somewhere else and you kill this creep wave that's maybe right here, and then they have to TP. Like, if there's no creep waves here and you still have towers active, rather than trying to push them off of this high ground, unless you're something like a sniper or a Zeus or a Leshrac or somebody that's got this ranged wave clear, it's better for you to smoke out and go all the way up to their tier 3 and make them TP back to their tier 3 than to try and sit right outside here when they've got Blink, they've got Invis, they've got another Phantom Strike. They have ways of getting on top of you even if you're sitting on top of this high ground. Just one person walks up here, puts a ward. What are you going to do? You're going to try and put one shot of damage on them. As soon as they see you, they just get on top of you and kill you one at a time. Or like 3 heroes kill you and they get their cooldowns back, and then they take another tower, and then your team has to wait 86 seconds for you to respawn, and by that time you've already lost 2 or 3 towers. So if you aren't going to smoke out and start cutting waves at their tier 3, then you just sit in base. You don't need to do anything. If you have Glyph, sometimes it's enough to kill off their creep wave, but if they're sitting 4 heroes under the thing, the 4 additional tower shots isn't going to clear off the creep wave. Lots of things
Radiant's
you need to do.
middle tower is under attack.
And then they just take your towers. We got 5 minutes of you one at a time walking on the base of time, so we're just going to skip that. But I want to talk about and summarize a couple points. So earliest thing, you can check items, you can check other people, you can click on them. This guy has no regen at 1 minute into the game. So if this guy showed up mid and all he had was a Blightstone, then you just keep right clicking him until he runs out of regen, or until he's low HP and can't walk up to the wave anymore, and he can't get any XP and he can't get any gold. You would kill him. This guy's got enough regen, but he lacks damage, so you just sit there and outlasted him, and then he gets no gold. What's he at, 52? If this was his build, and he comes up to the wave, and you have 56, you have the same kind of problem, but he has no damage, more or less. So you just kind of take his farm and make sure that he doesn't get to use these extra bits of regen, extra bits of damage. Try and bully him out of the lane a little bit because he's not getting any gold and experience, and you get all the gold and experience. And then you can buy additional damage, additional regen, and just start hitting him. Hit level 2, he's level 1. Then you just keep hitting him, and then you do more damage than him because you were at you gain 3 per level, so you gain an additional 3 damage and attack speed per level, so you can hit him more, things like that. You don't know who's going to show up mid, so you just check as many items as you can as they're showing up. You can block the creep wave if you want. It's really good for Viper, but you shove the wave out anyway. Your spell dictate what you're going to be doing in lane. If you expect to be hitting them a lot, poison attack is really good. You barely hit this co-op, so maxing poison attack first instead of nether toxin, which lets you farm faster, would have been more useful for getting you gold. These creep waves, or these creep camps, are sources of XP, and you can use the additional gold to buy regen so that you get a level advantage over your opponent and your full mana and full HP when you start fighting them. When we get up to the later points in the game, you're just sitting at no mana. You're level 8 with no mana. Never flown yourself a clarity, you didn't fly yourself any extra tangos, you just bought items. Bought big items. Urn of Shadows, it's not like huge, and it did let you get a kill, but if you were just full HP, didn't give up this DD that was right there, the double damage rune, you would have been able to kill the Quap easy. Been able to transition that into killing Sniper up here. Would have been able to transition that into killing PA several times because you're double her level right now. She had a really bad lane. Transition that into maybe killing the Necro if you have some magical help from... does magical damage, this guy. So if you put Earthshaker in the same lane as this guy and you're there, He just kind of dies because he can't dispel your poison and you're slow. He just regens a little bit. So, early game, that's what you need to be doing. You need to be checking items. You need to be leveling based on what you're going to do in the game. You need to buy small items. You need to buy regen. You need to get more levels from these creep camps. And then when heroes aren't in their lanes, like right now, this was after the gank, but let's go back to right when you died. 5-10 seconds before you died. These heroes aren't technically showing. They're just farming creep camps, and for some reason that means they're on vision in the replay. But you wouldn't have been able to see them. They're not in lane. Creeps meet. Creeps meet right here. And you don't call missing. And you decide, oh, this creep camp is safe. And there's 4 heroes right here ready to kill you. You see 1 hero, Necro. You see 0 heroes under this creep wave. So you can assume that they're under the next objective. Next objective for the enemy team is right here. And if they're not showing here, they're going for this. You have to wait before you step up to this wave. And you have range with this. I can't show you in this, but you can hit it from standing all the way back here. You can Nether Toxin right here and then just run. Because they're running at you. If we look at their perspectives, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 heroes running straight at you. And you're sitting at the middle of the creep wave, and they're just going to go on you. It's nice that you're sitting in this Nether Toxin, but you could just not die and feed your lead here. This doesn't need to happen. Even though you had Blade Mail, you could have been using that somewhere else. And again, we come back to the 15-minute fight, where I said, you're strong against PA, you're strong against Sniper. Sniper was dead. You run at the PA, PA just dies. 10, 15 minutes. And you use the same exact tools you had at 8 minutes. Here's the 14-minute fight. You just ran at the PA and she's like, oh, I don't want to fight a Viper under the creep wave. And then your team starts reinforcing you. And then you chase her down. And then you Nether Toxin. And then your team with stuns follows up. And then you can kill the PA and you kill the Necro. Stun. And then she can't get away. This guy can't get away. And they just die. But if you had done that, you had the same stuns up top. Maybe not the same combination of heroes, but you kill the Sniper, and then, what's his face? Weaver can't do anything about it. And then you get this tier 1, which is half HP just from the efforts from your Wind Ranger and your Earthshaker. Another thing, keep in mind, these siege creeps do more damage to towers. So you want to try and keep yours alive as much as possible and try and push with these under this tower. You're not taking the tier 2 before Roche. So just keep your siege creep alive and start pushing this wave. And that's what you're doing. So that's good. Your teammates aren't here. This is forces a rotation. You see the Sniper, but it's Quap and Sniper. As long as they don't have 3 heroes here. They're showing 1, showing Weaver. These 2 heroes are dead. You can kill the Sniper. You just get up to him. What's he gonna do? Like, you Nether Toxin him, he's sitting in another Toxin. Doesn't give you vision like it does for him, but you start attacking him, you slow him, he can't do anything, he can't run. You just walk up to him and you just start hitting him. And then he dies because he can't walk away. And then maybe the Quap blinks on you, but you got Blade Mail. And you get reduced damage from magic damage. Heroes were dead. Heroes were showing. You could just fight this person that you're strong against. 23, 26. You were out leveling him in 2 here, and he TP's in. He's stuck. You don't need to leave. You have BKB. You don't even need to worry about the slow from his shrapnel. You don't need to worry about the slow from the headshot or the knockback, and you don't need to worry about the assassinate. What's he gonna do? And now that the Necro's alive, you can't do it. Because he's got the stun that stops you from doing damage. Does a bunch of damage to you. And now Weaver's alive, who can actually maybe kill you.
Shrapnel!
So, even though I said I liked that TP, and it was okay, it's not the strongest thing you could have done. You could have actually killed the sniper, taken the tower, and then TP'd bottom if you really wanted to. But now the game is awkward.
Dire's top
And then you start
tower is
taking
under
5v5
attack.
fights, but you show up late. Because you're like, oh, maybe I can kill them.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
And you get 1 kill, but you TP'd in late. You TP'd to the outpost, which is 6 seconds for a TP time instead of this tier 2, which is a 3-second TP time, because nobody else has TP'd to this outpost. Is that why that was getting pinged? I don't know. What else? We talk about items.
Roshan has fallen to the Radiant.
BKB is timed with taking Roche as well as specific smokes. You want to make sure you have smokes available. No one put a sentry outside of Roche so that if Weaver wanted, he just Sakuchi's in, takes the Aegis, and then your team is like, where did the Aegis go? And now it's just on Weaver. Same thing if the enemy was doing Roche. Bounty Hunter could just walk in and take the Aegis and sit here and wait, and then as soon as Roche dies, he grabs it. And then it's like, where'd the Aegis go? And then Bounty Hunter just has it and he runs away. But now the enemy team is really strong, even though you have this this Aegis on your Invis hero. And you take a fight and you get a pick off on Necro. The hero that's going to carry the game is almost ready to fight. Like, she's missing her bash. And the only reason that bash is important is if you're like, oh, this person has the ability to kill me, and you instantly TP away, she doesn't have a stun to do anything about it. They have 1 stun. So as long as Necro's not at the fight and he dies, you could actually blink out. Like, you could TP out of this fight.
Coin for me.
So Necro shows up, and then you guys kill Necro. And this is their only stun.
Is the cure.
You don't have a TP scroll. Whoops. And then they decide to take a fight because it's even, but they're stronger than you by 10 kills, 11 kills, 12 kills. And the only hero that counters PA suddenly doesn't do anything. Like, notice she's standing in her nether toxin, and she's not getting, what's it called? She's not getting broken. So she's evading your spells. See the evade right there? And she's not getting reflected damage back. She could have actually put damage on you right now. She just instantly kills the guy with Aegis. And even though you get stunned, you're not doing anything to her right now. Standing in the shrapnel.
Stricken out.
They lost the same amount of heroes, but if things trade evenly for the next 20 minutes, you're still losing. And the map is still closing in on you. So instead of doing that, split up the map, make them TP to you. If Sniper is the one that TPs to you, you kill him. If P is the one that TPs to you, you kill her, unless she has BKB like she did. And as long as she doesn't have Basher, if she TPs to you, you can just TP out. Like, she can't kill you until... she can't kill you in 3 seconds. It took her more than 3 seconds to kill you, so if you just TP out and she doesn't have Basher yet, she got Basher off the kill on you, then you're fine. But now you can't fight her at all. You can't TP out, you can't do anything. If she shows up to any of the lanes that you're trying to split push, you just die. So you can't even push up to their
Radiant's
2-2
middle
anymore.
tower is under attack.
Oop. He died. Nice. Disjoint, that's good. Last thing that I want to point out. I don't know if this is the same for Turbo, but as long as there's no creep waves out here within this radius, there's something called backdoor protection. You don't get to see it because nobody's hitting it. No, like, enemies are hitting it. But there's been times, I'm sure that you've been aware, where there's no creep wave. This shield indicates that if you were Viper and you're standing here hitting this tower, the tower is going to take almost no damage. So you have two options. You either have range deep push, like Nether Toxin. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not fast enough. Or you're sitting back here at their tier 3, and you're cutting waves, and you're making them teleport to you on this side of the map. It removes all the aggression so that your teammates can walk out and start farming this camps. Unfortunately, she has Basher. So if you wander up here and then PA is the one that teleports to try and kill you or to try and stop you from doing anything, then you can't TP out. There's nothing that you can do to survive once that PA gets Skull Basher. And if she gets, what's it called? She gets Abyssal Blade, then she doesn't have to rely on the passive for the bash. It's an active bash. She opted for the Satanic because she doesn't need to lock anybody down, even though they only have one stun, which is silly, but that's fine. And then your team just slowly dies because they're trying to fight 5v5 when they're losing. Notice how you don't have enough resources to fight them, and they just start overwhelming you. Even if you're not dying instantly, it's just they're pushing into you, and they're pressing all their buttons, and then you just kind of die. And if you don't back off, then you just die. You can poke them a little bit, but eventually you just don't have enough poke to stop them from walking through.
Dire's structures are
And because of
fortified.
this one creep that got here,
Radiant's middle
then
barracks are under attack.
your tower had backdoor protection and then break. And now they can
Radiant's
just
middle
take these for
barracks
free.
has fallen. Radiant's middle
If there's one
barracks
creep
has fallen.
in your base, then none of your towers have backdoor protection, so they could just start hitting this tier 2 instead of hitting the tier 4s. But that doesn't work
Radiant's
for the tier
middle
2s up
tower
here.
is under attack.
Hopefully this helped. I tried to record this a couple times. I ended up putting a lot more information in it than I thought because there's more advanced things that I'd like. I tried to trim it down a little bit to help you, and it's still hard to see the effects of what I'm talking about, so maybe focus on one thing. Just doing the laning stage better, just farming the 2 camps, just leveling your skill build based on how you want to play the lanes, to see what you're doing the first, 5 to 10 minutes. Every creep wave, see how you were playing the creep wave and leveling based on what you did. Were you trying to push the wave as fast as possible? Were you trying to hit them more? Were you taking a lot of damage? Were you trying to farm faster? Were you trying to gank? Things like that. Ganking to lanes that have stuns, because you're Viper. You don't have any stuns, so as long as you have lanes with stuns, then you can kill. Because you have damage, you have slows. So anybody who doesn't like slows, like Sniper or PA, when she's silenced. So if you ganked to the silence with the drow, and then PA got silenced, then you would have killed the PA. This guy doesn't like being slowed and doesn't like a lot of damage nukes, so you could deal with that. Making sure tower lanes are pushed when you're survivable enough to do that. If they're showing 3 heroes on one part of the map, it doesn't matter if they show 2 heroes. The only times that you died early game are when 3 people showed up, and you managed to kill 2 by yourself. So doing things like that, showing up to places where you probably won't die when you're strong enough, and if they show 3 heroes or they TP another hero, then you just TP somewhere else and take a tower. Lots of things that you could be doing. If you watch it back, there's a lot that you can deal with. I don't know quite how to end the video, so hopefully this helped. Subscribe. I'm trying to do at least a video a day. I don't know how well it's going to work, but good luck on the climb. If you want to do some more coaching, let me know. Have a nice day. Can't end my stream. It's stuck. There we go.